Thank you. Okay, so I have 1039, and management is investing $6 million in new machinery that will produce the next generation routers. Sales to the customers will amount to $1,750,000 for the next 3 years, and then increase to $2.4 million for 3 more years. The project is expected to last 6 years, and operating costs, excluding depreciation, will be $898,620 annually. The machinery will depreciate to a salvage value of 0 over 6 years using the straight line method. The company's tax rate is 30%, and the cost of capital is 16%. The first question is, what is the payback period? So the payback period, we're going to take the 610,170 divided by the 1,350,966, which are going to be in the last 2 years. And the estimated payback period is going to be 5.45 years. Then the next question is, what is the average accounting return? So what you're going to do is take the after-tax income, which it gives you, so you can just take the average of that, divided by the average book value. So the average after-tax income is $123,466, divided by the average book value is $3 million, and that's going to give us an average accounting rate of return of 4.1%. Then it asks us to calculate the net present value. So we know that the cost is $6 million, and then $895,966 for 3 years at a 16% discount rate using the annuity function. Then we get $1,350,966, again for 3 years at 16%. It gives us a total net present value of $2,043,927. Then it asks us for the internal rate of return. And it'd just be easier just to use the financial calculator to be able to calculate the IRR. But what you do is you set it up, basically the same equation, and you try to drive the net present value to 0. And then once the net present value is equal to 0, you know what the internal rate of return is. And in this case, the internal rate of return is 3.1%. Okay? Thanks, Nick.
Okay, so I did 11.1, and so the question for 11.1 is, why do we use forecasted incremental after-tax free cash flows instead of forecasted accounting earnings in estimating the net present value of the project? And that's because accounting earnings generally differ from free cash flows, and stockholders usually care about cash flows more. And then I also did 11.17, which the basic gist of this question is, you're graduating college, you have $5 grand, you have 2 choices of bonds. One bond is a 2-year bond with a 3% interest rate, and the other bond is a exact term used. It was a inflation index 2-year bond. And so they give us the inflation rate, which is at 1.5%, and then the bond will go 1% greater than the interest rate. And luckily we have a formula to figure this out. So this is, with everything inputted, this is what the formula looks like. And so this is the amount that's going on top of the interest rate, and this is the interest rate itself, or inflation rate. And so you multiply those together, and then you'll have 1 plus k equals the product, and then you have to subtract off this 1 from both sides, and then you'll get k equals 0.02515, which can become 2.5%. So obviously 3 is greater than 2.5. You want to go with bond A.
All right. For problem 11.22, we're given 2 different machines at 2 different price points or costs, as well as the period of years that each can perform for our company. You're then asked to choose between which one we should choose and purchase, given our 15% discount rate. With machine A, it's a cost of $15,000 with the company. It will work for a period of 3 years. Machine B is a cost of $17,700 to the company and will perform for 4 years. When you calculate the EAC, which is the equivalent annual cost, you find that B has the lowest cost, which is what you're looking for, and so we choose machine B for our company.
For problem 1125, the company's trying to figure out the best time in which to buy a new accounting machine system. And for this, we use the value of 700 minus the cost of 5,000, which gives us the 2,000, and then we have our new person value. And there is a 10% opportunity cost for capital. And based on the numbers that we got, we would choose the 3rd year as the highest new person value.
Okay, I had 12.12, and it's basically asking what this simulation analysis is and how it's used. Sorry about my handwriting, it was a really long answer. But so basically, it's very similar to the scenario analysis, except it typically uses a computer to examine a large number of scenarios rather than just selecting individual values of each assumption, such as like unit sales, unit price, etc. The computer then draws upon the distribution in order to generate an observation of a single scenario, and then after repetition, a distribution of cash flow outcomes will be generated, and it gives the analysis the ability to, sorry, I wasn't able to write it, to perform a probability-based analysis on the cash flow distribution.
Anybody have 12.23? Okay, cool. He was taking a nap. Yeah, do the best you can.
So we get the original equation that we're going to use, and it's 50,000 equals FCF times the part of the equation 1 over 0.09 times the indices in the equation. We get the FCF is 7,791. We use another EBIT at the equation. We just plug that in using our FCF. In the original 5,000 equation, and we use 0.4 when subtracting out, we get 4,651.67.
And then I had 1326, which talked about choosing discount rates. And they're looking at the difference between the project that has a different capital mix than the firm's historical capital structure. And really what the question is and the answer is that when you're using historical capital structures, the current capital structure may be different because it changed, so the weights are different, and the cost of the debt and the cost of the equity is different too. So when you use historical, you're going to get a different weighted average cost of capital than the current weighted average cost of capital, which means that you may be accepting projects with negative NPVs actually, or you're rejecting projects with actual positive NPVs. So you want to use the target optimal capital structure and the current capital structure, not historical capital structures, to calculate the weighted average cost of capital to apply the discount rate to the project to see if it's feasible. So you could be making an error. Okay, who has 1336?
So for this problem, they give this equation right here, and you're trying to find the beta of the debt of the company. And so basically, you just take these values, and you find the difference, and you subtract 5.71, which I believe is
That's the market risk premium.
market risk premium. And so that'll give you this value right here, and then you plug that into another equation, which would give you the beta of the assets. And you need these values here, which is the debt of the company at 15 million, the common equity 45 million, and total cap 60 million. And so in order to find these values here that you plug into this, you need to go 15 over 60 to give you 0.25, and 45 over 60 to give you 0.75. Once you have those values, you can plug them in here, use this value, the beta of the debt here, to plug into that, and then that should give you the beta of the assets.
Okay, so for our problem, we're given the market value of the assets for 3 divisions, and then you add them to get the total market value of all the assets, and then for each division, to find the weight of each division, you do the value of the assets divided by the total, and then you get these 3 weights, and then you multiply them by their individual return rates, and then you add those all together, and you get the total weighted average.
So the next one is we're finding the pre-tax cost and after-tax cost of Core Industries debt with the 8% coupon bond. And so you start out by finding the annuity payment. So that's the future value times 8%, which is the 8% coupon bond outstanding. And you divide it by 2 because it's compounded, or the interest is semi-annually. So you get $40. And so to calculate the pre-tax cost is the annuity payment plus the future value subtracted by the present value divided by 12, and then so that's all divided by the future value plus the present value divided by 2, which is also the interest compounded semi-annually, and you get 4.47% debt pre-tax. And then so once you have the pre-tax, then you would multiply that that percent times 1 minus the tax rate, which is 35%, and you get 5.81%, which is the debt after tax.
Okay, so for this one, basically you're just plugging in all the different percentages that it gives you within for like the cost of debt and cost of capital to find the current cost of equity. So point 1 is the 10% weighted average cost of capital, and to that you want to add the 80% debt finance divided by the 20%. This is the 20% I think you get from subtracting the
Yeah, that's the
debt
equity
finance.
component.
Right, yeah, so you take the percentage of debt financed and subtract it from 100%, divided by that, you're gonna add that in after you multiply it by 0.1, which is the weighted average cost of capital percentage, and then 8%, which is the current cost of equity. So after you get all that, 18% is the new cost.
Alright, so this one's pretty much asking the same thing. You're given the weighted average cost of capital, which is 12.6%, the marginal tax rate, and the debt and interest that's applied to it, as well as the equity. So it's asked to find the return on equity for this one. So you're going to take 1 minus the marginal tax rate, which is 0.6, multiplied by the interest on the debt they have, divided by the total debt plus equity, so essentially the debt ratio, and then add this to the interest rate or return on equity here, multiply that times the equity ratio, or equity over debt plus equity, and then pretty much just solve for this coefficient right here, and then that's the return on equity, which is 50%.
And then who had 17 too?
Okay, that was us.
Thank you.
So they're asking what will be the amount of liquidating dividend when the firm liquidates all of its assets. So it's really simple. You just subtract the debt from the assets and you get 3 million.
I did 17.4 and it was pretty direct. The question asked, why would management of a company undertake a reverse stock split? And a reverse stock split is to reduce the number of outstanding shares, making the value of an individual share proportionally higher. And companies engage in this because it improves public perception and it
And it also keeps them from being delisted from the exchange. If the stock price drops below a certain level, they'll get delisted. Okay.
So this question, 1729, is about basically the amount of money you get to keep after taxes on capital dividends. So you bought 1,000 shares for $30, and then sometime later, the company wants to offers to repurchase those 1,000 shares at $80 a share. So you want to find out how much you're paying taxes first. So you multiply the 1,000 shares minus the profit you make, because you only get capital dividends tax, or capital gains tax only applies to your profit. So if you have a loss, you won't have to pay any taxes on it. So you get $7,500 in taxes, and then you subtract that from the $80,000 you get from selling back 1,000 shares at $80, and you get $72,500 of total, I guess,
Yeah.
profit.
Yeah.
And this is problem 15-8. Basically, the question is asking what is the total cost of the firm selling an IPO, and in order to find this out, we got to go through these 2 steps. So the underwriter's spread is $30 per share minus the $27 per share, and it comes out to be $3 a share. And you do the numbers of shares outstanding, 90 million divided by $30 per share equals 3 million shares. And then the underwriter's cost is the $3 per share times the 3 million shares to get the $9 million. And this was given in the question. The pocket expenses is $450,000. And lastly, the underpricing. So the stock price at the end of the first day is $30 per share times 1.17, and you get 35.10 per share. And then the first day underpricing is you do the 35.10 per share minus $30 per share, and that comes out to be $5.10 a share. And the total underpricing, you do the $5.10 times the 3 million shares, and you get 15,300,000. So the total cost of the firm selling the IPO is the 9 million plus the 450,000 plus the 15,300,000 to get 24,750,000.
Great. That was great.